Many of you have probably met me or seen me before. I've been here a few times. But, also in the news of COVID, right? We just got the new FDA approval for the new Moderna and Pfizer vaccines that have come out that address this flirt variant. And so that should be coming to pharmacies and doctors' offices near you in the beginning of September. So that's not going to be too far away. So I did have some stuff planned to talk about long COVID, but that being in the news yesterday, I can also answer some questions if any of you have questions or concerns about the new vaccine or how to curtail symptoms. One thing to think about is definitely making sure to, separate your vaccines by at least 4 weeks. So if you are going to get the COVID vaccine and you're also planning on getting the flu vaccine, which is coming out or is out, I would say that, get your COVID vaccine first because the numbers are really high right now, and then wait about 4 weeks to get the flu vaccine. October is the best time for getting the flu vaccine because usually the flu season tends to hit a little later than COVID season. But as all of you may know, once the kids go back to school, they went back this week and next week, it's open season for COVID, right? It's just going to kind of spread like wildfire. So we're already starting to see those numbers creep up, and I think we're going to see them get pretty high in the next couple of months. So if you are somebody who is, looking to get the vaccine, then I thought I'd let you know that it is coming out. Okay. So if nobody has any questions about that, then I'll jump in. What's known comparatively about the illness severity of the COVID variants prevalent now? So what they've found so far is that it doesn't lead to any more hospitalizations or severe illness than other variants. They have found that this variant does tend to be a little bit more contagious than other variants, but not more severe. I will say, clinical practice wise, people are getting pretty sick. Not hospitalization sick, but they're getting fever, some of the loss of taste and smell. It's putting them out for a few weeks. So maybe a little bit more, subjectively from what I'm hearing, worse than the Omicron variant and the fact that it's really impacting them. So, but everybody is also different, but that's what we're seeing research wise. And to get when you would get your flu vaccine. If I get both in October, how far apart? Yeah, so it is short. We do recommend that you wait at least 6 months between the last COVID vaccine or last COVID infection that you had and getting the new COVID vaccine. So just to give everybody that information. Always just put them at 4 weeks apart. When you go to the pharmacy, the pharmacist is going to say, just get them both. Don't do that. You're going to have more side effects if you get both the COVID and flu vaccine at the same time. Yes, CDC answer would be you can get them at the same time, sure, but that doesn't mean they're not going to have more side effects. So I would recommend not getting them at the same time, at least spreading them out a little bit. And if you're going to get them both in October, get the COVID vaccine first. Looks like people feel pretty complete about that. We've been dealing with the COVID vaccine for a while now, so it's not big news, I guess. But it definitely, I guess, is news because everybody was waiting for that new one to come out, right? Nobody wanted to get the old one. It's not going to cover this new variant. And we're starting to get into that season where everybody gets sick, unfortunately. All right, so I thought a lot about what kind of we could talk about today because as all of you know, long COVID is such a broad topic. There's 1,000 different directions that we could take it. And one of the things that I think about is not talked about a lot in long COVID is actually the effects on vision, and in particular the retina. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Oh yeah, I can talk, Linda, a little bit about COVID infections on the brain. But also know that there's so much information about long COVID. In fact, I run a long COVID group where we talk about research all the time, and I have 247 slides of information and studies of everything that's out. So there's new information coming out all the time. It affects, systemically the entire body in different ways. So we can always, kind of jump around a little bit here and there. All right, let me share my screen. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think Pfizer and Moderna are going to be pretty similar because they're both mRNA vaccines. To note, Novavax has not changed their vaccine yet. So if you guys are waiting for a non-mRNA vaccine, then Novavax does not have a new one yet. Okay, so a little bit of an update overall about long COVID is Recover, which is the largest study going on about long COVID nationally. They actually just started their treatment trials. So it's taken them quite some time, right? Billions of dollars later, we have a lot of observational information, but we don't have any information yet from them on different medications, even repurposed, that could be helpful for long COVID. So we just started this, which likely means that we're going to be a few years out before we probably get some information on it. But in particular, there's definitely a study about Paxlovid. This is sort of a little frustrating, I think, to people in the long COVID community because Stanford already did a very large trial using Paxlovid with long COVID, and they did not find that it helped long COVID to use Paxlovid. So Recover's doing it again. We'll see what they get from their study. They're also using brain stimulation, which is something that's been used before, but not to the extent that they're doing it. So there may be something that comes from that. Okay. And then the US Department of Health and Human Services actually just started an Office of Long COVID Research and Practice with hopes that they could advocate and also do more research and advocate in the disability part of this illness, right, nationally. And they created a new definition and rolled it out of long COVID. And I'll show you what that looks like. Because often people tell me, like, do I have long COVID? Do I not have long COVID? And if you meet this definition, you technically do. So this is the definition that they came up with, that it's an infection that occurs after a COVID infection and is present for at least 3 months as a continuous relapsing and remitting or progressive disease state that affects one or more organ systems. So I'll put this link in the chat and you guys can read through, the way it sort of manifests in the body. That might be interesting to some of you, but I hear from a lot of people, especially in the age range of 60 and above, that are just really confused. They're like, do I have long COVID? Is it just aging? I saw my doctor and they told me it's just because of aging and it isn't because of long COVID, but I didn't have these problems before I had COVID. This may help you kind of narrow that down, but it is still a pretty broad definition, right? So it's also possible that people can have more than one thing at a time. They can have some effects of aging and also have effects from having COVID or even the COVID vaccine, right? Because I think we all know certain people who have had, some injuries from the COVID vaccine or didn't have a good reaction to the COVID vaccine. So I'll put that in the chat for you. Okay. Yes. So yeah, no Novavax. They haven't approved the new Novavax yet. But yeah, I don't know. The politics of the FDA, Rick. None of us are going to be able to figure out, right? If I had a feeling, and I don't want to speak out of turn, maybe there's an FDA person in here, but there may be something about that, and what those companies are doing or not doing for the FDA. Yeah, that's my feeling too, but we don't know. That's just the American healthcare system that I don't think any of us are going to figure out today, right? Okay, so that's that, and that's kind of the update, but that's boring, right? So that's why I figured we'll talk a little bit about not just the update, but also some of the things that are related to long COVID. And I can also talk about, since it was mentioned about brain health, I can also talk about some of those things too, if at the end we have a little bit of time after the eye. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I have this picture here just so everybody can see what the retina is, and also the blood retinal barrier, which protects the eye, right? And the retina is really important to your vision because it takes the light and it that enters your eye and it translates it into images, right? So without the retina, we wouldn't have vision. And there's a blood retinal barrier that's both inner and outer, and that protects the retina from any pathogens. So just like the brain has a blood-brain barrier, the retina has a blood-retinal barrier, right? As a extra protective mechanism, because the body understands, we were made in a certain way on purpose, right? It was understood that these are parts of the body that really need to be protected. We really need to protect our brain. We really need to protect our vision. So that's how that occurred. So to talk a little bit about that, these were some of the changes from a 2023 analysis of 121 patients from the beginning of the pandemic, which is not super big. Something to keep in mind for those of us who are maybe like not used to the long COVID research is that much of it does have smaller populations of people. That's just how the research is. We don't have a lot of research other than Recover that has, tens of thousands or 100,000 people. But these are some of the things that they found that were most common effects of the eye. And as you can see, all of them affect the retina, right? Whether it's retinal artery occlusion, which is a really big deal, that's an emergency, where you lose sudden vision on one side. And it usually doesn't cause pain. If that ever happens, of course, go to the emergency department. That's nothing to mess around with. Or it could be something as simple as having a retinal hemorrhage where the little blood vessels in the retina are bleeding and you have some blind spots, and you can have a gradual vision loss. But if you're seeing any impacts to your vision at all after COVID, it makes sense to be seen for it, to make sure that there isn't anything that's going on in this sort of light, because if there is, often there are things that can be done about it. So it's not, if you intervene sooner than later, it can be helpful. You can get treatment. There was a 2023, so this one was last year, published observational study of 38 patients with long COVID. And these patients were referred for a neurocognitive assessment. And they saw about 26 to 60% high symptom scores. And they tested them in all these areas: symptom assessment, vision exam, saccadic eye movements, visual motion sensitivity. And what they found was, and many of you may have experienced this yourself, you get COVID and you're like, I feel like I can't read anymore. I feel like I can't watch TV in the same way anymore. I can't drive in the same way anymore. That may have to do with having less efficient saccadic eye movement, because your eyes, when you're reading something, right, or looking at something, they make these very fast movements. When they're not doing that efficiently, that can lead to, not having impairment, right? Not being able to read, getting headaches, getting dizzy, not being able to comprehend what you see on the page. You can also have binocular dysfunction, which is when the eyes are a little bit misaligned, not in the same way as somebody who has, a very distinctive eye that's going in a complete different direction, like a lazy eye, right? But we're talking about very slight misalignment that you probably wouldn't notice even looking in a mirror. And when that happens, you can't form a full picture, right? And then thirdly, what they found was in really visually busy places. So that could be like the metro, a supermarket, a concert, right? Places where there's a lot of people, there's music, there's a lot going on. That these patients also had higher vision motion sensitivity. So they would get a lot more vertigo or loss of balance, dizziness, headaches, sort of associated with that. So if you're noticing any of those changes, it could be because of COVID, right? Something to think about. And when they performed a mouse study that was published, this was published in 2024, most recently, they found that COVID actually can break that blood retinal barrier that protects our eyes. So now we know not only can COVID break the blood brain barrier, which is really dangerous, but we also know that COVID can break the blood retinal barrier and affect our eyes, right? Which is also really scary. And this was really the first study that showed that in otherwise healthy individuals, that there could be damage to the retina, and that the longer the viral remnants remained in the eye, the more damage to the retina and visual function can occur, right? So definitely, interesting, and we'll have to see how that kind of goes. And then another one also saw this Yale study, this Yale Listen study that was published recently, showed that if you do have visual changes after COVID, you also probably have a more severe type of long COVID. So people with visual changes were associated with just having more severe long COVID. So visual changes are sort of a big deal, right? From what we're seeing in this research so far. So what can you do about it from an integrative medicine perspective, right? Let's say you are having some of these issues. One, you can get a neurooptometry exam. So a lot of people don't know that there are providers out there called Optometrists, and they do these very specialized exams. If you go to a regular optometrist, they're not going to be able to do this exam. They may tell you your vision's normal, right? If you go to an ophthalmologist, they may also tell you your vision is okay and that your eye is okay. If you go to a optometrist, and there are several in the DMV area, I can share the list of them with Janet to share with all of you. But they can help you and maybe even do some of these activities that are listed here. You know, some of these are just kind of like when you see a physical therapist and they give you exercises to do for your shoulder, your knee. These are exercises for your eyes, right, that help repair this. In addition to that, there's a lot of nutritional support that can be given for the eyes, right? Vitamin A, C, E, all really good for the eyes, omega fatty acids. There's certain herbal supplements that can be helpful, like bilberry is good for night vision. Euphrasia is good for inflammation in the eye. Ginkgo biloba protects against glaucoma. So these are some herbal things that some of you may be taking. Acupuncture can be great for vision. Of course, anything that manages stress, because our vagus nerve affects our eyesight. So meditation, yoga, and then a whole host of homeopathy, like phosphorus for sensitivity to light, that could be helpful too. And then it's also important to remember the environment. So making sure you have proper lighting. If you do find that your eyes get very sensitive, turning down the lighting on your computer, or taking away, using like blue light filters or taking the blue light away from your computer screen, taking screen breaks where you take a break after 20 minutes and look far away, right? And also hydration and eye care, using warm compresses on the eyes or even doing little massages around the eyes can help circulation and relieve dry eyes. So those are some things that you guys can try. We have a Yeah. So the vagus nerve affects vision because when you're in a sympathetic response, like a fight or flight response, your eyes are going to be straight ahead, right? Think of it as like you're running away from something. Your body is conditioned when it's in that response to just be looking straight ahead because you're going to be running, right? From that whatever's chasing you. But this happens in normal life even without that. So if you're too much in a sympathetic response, and you have too much of that fixed vision, then that can create like dryness or eye strain as well, right? Via the recording or another way. I want to share with somebody. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll share it with Janet, and she can share it with all of you. So I think that Janet, do I have a few more minutes or am I done? I don't want to take any of the other person's time. She leave us?
Janet. Actually, you have more time.
Do I have more time?
Yes, you do. I have 15 minutes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Elva's going to do a 15-minute practice.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just let me know. Okay. Okay. I don't want to take anybody else's time. All right. So let me show you let me find the brain stuff and I can show that to you because I know somebody had a specific question about that, and that stuff is really interesting. And I just actually did this for our Recode support group recently. So I'd love to share it with all of you too. Gotta open it. I'm sorry, bear with. When you have a lot of slides, it's tough. I'll try to answer your questions at the same time. Is there any evidence that the eye symptoms are showing up as side effects from the COVID vaccines themselves? So the problem is that we can't tell the difference. We don't know, right? Because so many people have been vaccinated and mostly everybody's had COVID at least once, right? So I don't know if we know the difference, if it's, from the vaccines or not. So far, I haven't seen anything that stands out that is about the vaccine, that they've done trials of the vaccine specifically and seen that. So I can't really speak to that. Go ahead, Sheila. I know you have a question. Do you have a question, Sheila?
Oh,
I think you're muted.
wrong. I'm doing the wrong thing. I had a question about the booster.
Okay.
Some kind of way I read last year that only 17% of people were getting the booster.
Yeah, not a lot.
That's like a low, seemed like low.
It is low, yeah.
And and I wanted to ask, do you have any insight on why that is? And also I wanted to know, of the diligence who've been getting them every year, is there over time, is there any more something that we'll have in our system that helps us be a little more covered from getting this thing than those that are not getting the booster? You know what I mean? Is there any more?
Yeah. So it's going to end up, it's like the flu vaccine at this point, right? It's endemic. So there's going to be new variants of COVID and we're going to have new COVID vaccines to protect us against those variants. And so we do see a very low number of people getting the COVID vaccine. And, some of that has to do with mistrust of the medical community, right? Of feeling like, I don't know if the COVID vaccine in particular has been very politicized compared to other vaccines, right? I mean, the amount that we heard kind of in the media about the COVID vaccine is so different than what we hear about the flu vaccine on a yearly basis. So I think that could have something to do with it. But it's hard to say why, kids even more are even less vaccinated than that. Like, so we're also seeing that parents aren't giving COVID vaccines to their children. But I do know, based on the immense amount of research that's been done, that shows that the vaccine does prevent against long COVID. So there is a lot of research to support that at this point. So I'm not the type of person, I'll put this out here right now, who's for or against the vaccine, one way or the other. There's certain people I think are really good candidates, and there's other people that I think aren't good candidates. But I will say that we can't ignore the research that's out there that says that it does prevent long COVID.
Okay.
And
Okay, now you're saying vaccine, which came out, the original came out years ago, and a lot of people got at least that one thing. But I'm talking about this yearly booster that they were saying people were not up on a booster. So two things. If you got the original, because a lot of people got the original vaccine, but a lot of them continuing this booster every year. So are you getting some protection if you only got that one booster years and years ago? Is there anything in your system that is, doing something if you're not even getting a booster every year? Because they said 17% of the people weren't even getting the boosters anymore. Yeah. That's what I was talking about, the booster aspect.
Sure. No, I understand what you're saying. So, I mean, the problem is, no, it's not doing anything in your body anymore, because we know that immune response sort of dissipates over time, right? In the same way of you get a COVID infection, you can get another one months later. So your body with the vaccine does have some protection, just like your body with getting a COVID infection has some protection, but it doesn't last. So it often does need a booster. So when they say that the vaccine protects against long COVID, they mean the vaccine all, like booster included, right? And if I had to guess, which I don't like medically to guess, I would say that they're basically saying that the more COVID infections you have, the higher chance you're going to get of having long COVID, right? And that is true. So maybe there's association between those two, but it's not, like I said, it's not for everybody. And it really depends on how your response to the vaccine was before.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I know that it can be frustrating because there's not, the research is, it's tough, right? There's not a lot of really clear information. But it's also because it's novel and there's new stuff coming out all the time. It's difficult for sure. Okay. Let me put up my little cognitive dysfunction here. So this is a little bit about COVID and cognitive decline that we can talk about. Like I said, I just did this recently, and there was a study in 2023 that was published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, and they saw that there was a rapid progression of dementia following COVID-19, which suggests that if you're somebody who's already suffering from some sort of cognitive dysfunction, so they had these 14 participants, right, with pre-existing dementia who were in the study, and they noticed 3 months, they had some imaging, right, and some cognitive testing 3 months before COVID, and then a year later, and they found that not only did they experience worsened sort of symptoms of their cognitive dysfunction, but they all had worsened brain imaging as well after a year. So definitely, some good evidence to support trying to prevent as much as you can, which, that's not easy either, getting COVID infections if you're somebody who is experiencing any cognitive decline at all. Again, this was a large observational study. So this one was very big. This was in 2024 in the New England Journal of Medicine. And it was 800,000 adults that they gave cognitive assessments to. And what they found were these cognitive deficits in areas of memory, executive functioning, reasoning, and it persisted for more than a year in people after COVID-19, and more pronounced in people who were hospitalized or had severe disease. What they also saw, and this can kind of answer your vaccine questions, also means vaccine as a broad term for booster, vaccine, all of it. Vaccination showed less significant cognitive deficits compared to people who were not vaccinated. And those infected earlier with Alpha variants actually had greater cognitive decline than the more recent variants. So, kind of one hopeful thing is that we're seeing definitely less cognitive decline with the more recent variants, but still quite a bit. And there was a Norwegian study that was just as big, actually, I think a little larger, that showed similar results. So, it'll be interesting to see how, I think that's the biggest information I had on that. It'll be interesting to kind of see how the COVID infection affects individuals as they age, affects cognition 10, 20 years from now. I don't think we have that information. But if I had to guess, it's going to be pretty sober, because we know that, from other mouse studies, hamsters, animal studies, even human studies, that COVID can break the blood-brain barrier and infects the brain. And so that's a dangerous thing. Go ahead, Sheila.
I just want to know, with so many chronic illnesses out there, and now long COVID being one, are there long COVID experts, doctor experts? Now I know you have a program at GW, but I mean, if you're not in there, where do you go? Because a lot of doctors, if you have chronic stuff, they just, you kind of flipping around they're trying to figure it out, even if they're not trying hard. But it's very hard to get any type of, and I know this from personal experience, it's not hard to get real recovery from a long chronic situation. So are there long COVID experts out there that are available if a person does get long COVID, that knows all about the background? And are there doctors right there in GW that know about the long COVID?
So we're the only program that addresses long COVID, and we're separate from GW, right? But affiliated with GW. But as GW as a whole, we're the only long COVID program that exists. They used to have one, but they decided to eliminate it. And MedStar has a long COVID program, and I won't say much about that. And Hopkins also has a long COVID program. So those are all the ones in the area, like in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Okay, and patients can come to the GW long COVID, just regular folk can come to that program that you have at the Integrative Medicine Center?
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a few. Our program actually just won an Innovative Hospital Program Award. We also have a group for people who have a difficult time, because integrative medicine, as all of you may know, can be very expensive. So we have a long COVID group where we disseminate a lot of this information that we're talking about today, and also talk about self-management strategies, ways to talk to their doctor about their long COVID symptoms. And we're starting our third group in October. So we have a very, a very inexpensive group that people can join too. It's about $25 a week.
Okay, thank you very much.
Not sure. But it is hard to get care out there, and there needs to be more, right? I mean, one of the things that on a national level needs to be done is that there needs to be these multidisciplinary clinics stood up, and they need funding. And that's the problem, right? We have 18 million plus people in the United States with long COVID. And without that, everybody's just kind of going to this primary care and this doctor, but some of them may know about long COVID and some of them may not know anything about long COVID. And rightfully so, because they're probably very busy, doing so much, right? I do long COVID kind of all day, every day. So I do a lot of the research and I'm keeping up with everything. But somebody who's seeing a whole host of different things all the time, like a primary care, for instance, maybe isn't going to have the time to really realistically do all of that.
And what I found is they don't have the time if your thing is hanging on, if you have something that's not going away with some type of pill.
Yeah.
And then you have all these other symptoms and problems, and you have an issue, because most doctors don't hone in like that. Yeah. So that's why I'm asking, where do you go? Because apparently this is a kind of a issue now across the country.
Big issue.
It's also, it's in the chronic whatever category, a real thing. So that's why I was asking, where do you go? Where they experts, but
Yeah, it's a big issue. It's a big issue. And hopefully, there was a bill that was just put before Congress looking to do that very thing, to put funding into creating multidisciplinary centers, because most people are pretty disappointed with the Recovers trial and how much money they've gotten so far and how little has sort of materialized out of that to actually help people, right? And so, there is a bill that's, looking for that. So we'll see what happens when it gets voted on. But it is a real problem. And it doesn't just affect people individually, it also affects our economy, because many of these people are out of work and can't go back to work because of their long COVID symptoms. And they can't get, like you said, Sheila, they can't get the care they need because it's very rare. We live in an area where there's some areas in the country that there's none.
Right.
I have people who are in my group or come see me who are from Brazil, Canada, Colombia, even outside the country. So like, not only does the United States have a problem, but the world has a problem, and they're not handling it well either. So it's really tough. It's really tough out there.
Well, I'm glad you all have at least one program, and that's good. That people, and I think you're probably doing a Zoom or something where everybody can get in and get help when you do your monthly programs.
Yeah, our weekly visits are that are groups are via Zoom. Yeah, because many people can't, they're either not living in this country or they can't physically come because they are so debilitated. So yeah, they come via Zoom, and actually it's been really beautiful. Just like this group here where you guys see each other every week. It's really beautiful to see people come together and support each other, and have that community is extraordinarily important. Just that in itself, even without all the information that I just told all of you.
Yeah, I've been coming for years, so I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. All right. Does anybody else have any lasting questions?
Well, Ashley, can you do me a favor and send me your PowerPoint so I can share it with the group? Great. All right, folks, I am going to move the screen let Ashley take a breath out of the spotlight. And we're going to turn things over to Dr. Elva Anderson.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great.
Elva, right off the top, do you want me to leave everything alone so you can control whether or not you see people? Because
Oh, no, you can control that. I mean, I'm going to be like touching things that probably I shouldn't be touching.
Okay.
So thank you, Ashley. I mean, to follow that, you all may be thinking like I'm thinking like, how can we even laugh? How can we even laugh at this? Because, you know, there's so many things that we're dealing with that can keep us away from laughing. We just may not even want to feel like we want to laugh at all. You know, there's chronic stress out there, there's chronic illness, there's chronic things going, you know. This is an election year too, right? The news, tons of extra work, you know, speeding tickets and all that traffic stuff. I mean, it's a lot. That's a lot out there, right? So knowing this, I do want to say this disclaimer. I didn't say it before, but you know, laughter yoga is not a miracle cure, okay? And so I want you to think about some things when we do this laughter yoga, or even when you do it with your family or friends, or even at work, that we want to take some things into consideration. So for example, if you have friends or yourself dealing with heart disease, with chest pain, so you may take that in consideration doing laughter yoga, as well as high blood pressure that's not controlled, hernia, if you have like incontinence, you know, your urine, or, you know, prolapsed urine. So think about that. Wear a diaper if you need, right? Epilepsy, if it's uncontrolled, glaucoma, if you have a history of hemorrhaging there, any major psychiatric disorders, piles or hemorrhoids, you know, any persistent coughing. So even with, you know, COVID, if you have persistent coughing, do not do that. You can do it alone, but do not do it in a room with people, because you do not want to spread germs. So any acute symptoms that you may be dealing with, severe back aches. So just be cautious. You know, I just want to say these things because I'm pretty sure some people might go, oh, I'm just going to laugh my way through things. But, you know, please consult with your medical doctors, right? So we're going to do a little bit of stretching before we get into laughing. I know some of you have been here before with me. Maybe some of you are new, but we're going to just do a little stretching. And it's going to be like a chair yoga thing. Again, you don't have to stand up, but if you want to, you may. But I want you to just kind of move your shoulders just back and shoot out your chest like a little peacock of some sort, you know, just kind of lifting that up. Let me see if you guys can see like this. It's like, you know, just kind of opening up your shoulders, bringing them forward and pulling back. Yes, that feels good, right? Because we're sitting at the desk most of the day. So I want you to kind of rotate these shoulders now, bring them up to the ears and then drop them down, rolling forward, you know, just kind of getting the body acclimated to stretching right now, because we're going to do some laughing. All right, now you just want to take your hands and kind of bring them up, and you're going to use your palms forward like this and shoot them straight up. Yes. All right, and it's straight up for at least 15 seconds. Yes, yes, yes. Doing this feels great. Maybe a little wiggle in there, you know, just kind of getting the body, stretching it out, because we're going to be doing some work, which is laughter. And bringing some laughter there. You know, there's a motto for laughter yoga, and it says, no strain, no new pain. Okay, so there we go. There we go. All right, that feels kind of good. Yeah, I like that. Did you guys enjoy that? So that's pretty easy. We just did that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about laughter yoga. It started back in like 1995 by Dr. Kataria, and he's a medical doctor. And his wife, she's a yoga teacher. So he came up with this concept that anyone can laugh for any reason. So we don't have to have anything in mind right now today to laugh about. We're just going to say, hey, we're going to laugh. We're going to use this time together to show the power of laughter. It's just like a positive psychology. So, you know, the power of laughter is usually not seen or used as real medicine, and it's overlooked or undervalued. So if you consider the benefits of laughter, I think you should really think about it being close to your top priority for the day as a healing tool, as some type of coping skill. Because there's many positive qualities to laughter, and it doesn't cost a cent. It's free. It's good for you. You can be self-prescribed. You can use it anytime you want to, right? And it's self-administered. So you can just kind of say, you know, I feel like laughing right now. I feel like just have a little moment. And who cares about what anyone else says? That's their stuff. You're gonna do you. Do you, boo, right? So there's no adverse effects to it either. So it makes you feel good. And you know what? It makes you feel good, and the people around you, they feel good too, and they want to be around you because you're positive energy and you're just making people feel great. You know, you don't want to be a stick in the mud. There's plenty of stick in the muds out there, so let's kind of start laughing. You know, let's initiate laughter with groups, yourself. And when we do this, I want to make sure that we're doing some eye contact. Those out there, if you want to put your cameras on, that'd be great, because then I can see you. It makes me feel happy. I see some face. I see Linda. Hi, Linda. So I want you guys, Sheila, you're out there. Where's my Sheila? Rick, Linda, there's another Linda. Cheryl. So if you want to get on camera, great. If not, that's okay. But it does make me, it winds me up. The more you give me, the more I'm going to give you guys. Okay, I got my two Lindas there. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So one reason why it's called laughter yoga is because we do combine breathing exercising as well as the laughter, you know, and so it's supplying oxygen to the body as well as the brain. So this is why it's beneficial to us. And, you know, there's scientific evidence data out there that says that stimulated laughter, like what we're doing today, may not be funny, but you're going to laugh. It provides the same physiological and biochemical benefits as a genuine laugh. So we're gonna do some. Okay. So again, let's kind of rotate our body and get into the mood of laughter. Let's say the first one we could do. I know Ashley was talking about the eyes, right? And we can do a laughter yoga exercise right now. It's going to be called the laughter cream. So let me take my glasses off for this. And you're going to act like you have cream in your hand, your fingers, and you're going to rub your cream onto maybe those eyes. And you're going to laugh. That feels good. Then you're going to do it again, maybe rubbing, right? Feel what it feels like and smile. Just a smile. Even a smile is good. If you don't want to laugh, that's okay. You can just smile. Show those pearly whites, and you just put it on your eyes and laugh. So you remember our laughter yoga, we start off with ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. So now that we get the cream on and we're feeling pretty good, we're going to go ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. You guys ready? Yeah, okay, great. And if you want to get off the mic, that's great too, because the more laughter I hear, the more I get, you know, churned up and charged up and ready to go. So ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. We can even do it like ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yes. So you're starting to feel it, right? I know you guys are feeling it. So now we're going to move from that cream. We're going to take that cream, take it from the eyes, and now we're going to rub that cream on our bodies. And we're going to be like, ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Rubbing ourselves, loving ourselves. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha.
Ho, ho, ha, ha.
Ho, ho.
Ho, ha, ha, ha.
And now we're going to turn this cream into laughter cream. And we're just going to go, oh my gosh. Oh my God, this cream is so creamy. And just rub this cream all over you. And you know what? This feels good. This is like a self massage. So let's really get into it. Like, oh, oh, it's tight there, but oh, I feel really tight there, but you guys are loving yourselves and doing your self massage, right? But you're laughing at the same time. I hear you guys. Oh my gosh. Ooh, yeah. Yes. Now that we're doing that, we're all pumped up. We're going to look at our muscles. Ooh, look at that, you guys. And we're going to point to our muscles and go, look at this. You want some of this? Ooh, I got one over here too. Ooh, look at that. That's muscle. There's your muscle. And now that we're poking ourselves after we gave ourselves a massage, now we're going to find the laughter center on us. So wherever we poke or touch, we're just going to laugh. You guys ready? Any type of laughter you want. It's there. It's there. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I think it's here. Now poke up the nose like that pig. Remember we did the piggy. It's a pokey pig. Oh, it's both over this side of here too. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to sweat now. Now it's back here. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm working, as you can see. There's a little glistening happening, right? You guys feel it? It's there. So that means we're really working our bodies. We're really lifting up that diaphragm and getting things going. So let's keep going. So I have a funny one for you. The donkey. Yes, I said donkey. The donkey laugh. So what does a donkey sound like? Anybody want to tell me what a donkey sound like? Anybody? Yeah. Who did that? Was that you, Linda? That was good. Can you do that again? What's a donkey sound like? Say it again. That was good.
It was Janet.
Janet, that was you. All right, we're gonna do the donkey laugh. It's like, yeehaw, yeehaw. Come on, guys, let me hear it. Yeehaw, yeehaw, yeehaw. The donkey laugh. Yeehaw, yeehaw. So, the donkey made so much noise that now we're going to say, you know what, donkey, I'm going to apologize that you're making so much noise. So we're going to do the apology laughter, which is like, sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, that's sarcastic. I'm sorry, not sorry laughter. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Someone's reaching for that last M&M pack and you got it and you go, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I haven't. So bringing up more laughter, bringing it up. You're bringing it up. And you know what? By show of hands for those who are on camera, how many of you are feeling much better? It's a really quick survey. Yeah, there you go. Because we're releasing endorphins. We're feeling better. We're doing it with each other. It's almost like you have to have laughter in order to kind of bring people together, right? Some type of chuckle. So let's do another one. You guys, we did the donkey laugh, the fake laugh, like, oh no, I'm sorry. Now let's do the silent laugh. For those who want to be very silent, even if you're on camera or not, we're going to laugh without a sound. Like, it's so funny. Have you ever seen people just go, well, I'm one of those laughers too. So let's do that. kind of stomping your foot into that one. You're over there stomping your feet and you're laughing quietly. Now, some of you may be thinking, this is pathetic. Well, it's not for everybody. Laughter yoga is not for everybody. Not everybody have a good sense of humor either. You may be with some people that you think things are funny, and they're looking at you like, it's not funny. But laugh. Use your ability to heal yourself with laughter. It's very important, extremely important. Let's do the red light, green light laughter. Imagine you're driving. And so if you come up on a red light, you're going to laugh because you stopped, right? You stopped, you see the red light, and you're going to laugh. Our hands on the wheels. I want to see that. The 9 and the 3 position, right? On the wheel, the steering wheel, or the 9 and the 4, whatever you want to do. But both hands on the wheel. And you're going to see a red light. Imagine you see a red light, and you're going to laugh. Because you're at the red light. You stopped. Your car stopped. The brake pads worked. You're going to laugh. Now the light turns green and you go. So imagine if you're driving and you don't see any red lights, you're just going through green lights. You're going to just go, very good, yay. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Yes, very good, yay. And you can even take one hand off the steering wheel if you want. You're feeling really frisky. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Driving my car through the city, yay. Sing your little song, doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, yay. So now that we're singing, we're going to go back to that humming. There's a hummingbird laughter. So did you know that humming can reduce high blood pressure? Yes, some of us. Okay, make sure we do it controllable, right? Right. So it's a miracle
I'm
for everybody.
driving.
Huh?
I'm driving, and I'm laughing.
Are you really driving?
Green. I really am.
Who is that? Who's driving? I want to know. Who is that? Lynette. Okay, Lynette, you got to keep us posted on if there's any red lights, and if it's a red light, you have to start laughing.
Well, I'm at the red light now.
Let's laugh with Lynette. She's at the red light. Oh my God. Lynette's at the red light and her brakes work. So we just start laughing at that. I mean, find humor in things. You have to find humor in things. And Lynette, thank you for sharing that because, you know, you're participating and you're driving, you're being a mindful driver, going through the city, but also we will make sure that you're, you know, safe. But you have fun because that's time. You know, some people spend maybe 25, 30 minutes, maybe plus in a car going to and from work. So use that time to laugh. Find something that's funny, you know, that red light, green light. Maybe you're dropping the kids off at school. Maybe that's fun. Have them involved.
I'm driving. I have to chime in today and laugh.
Thank you. I need the laughter. The more you give, the more I receive. I take it. Thank you. It's like blessings, right? You get a blessing from someone who's laughing with you versus laughing at you. And if you're laughing at me, that's fine too. You know, hey, I'm here to provoke laughter. So thank you very much. What was that?
Step on blood pressure. Blood pressure.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do the one with the blood pressure. Is that what you're talking about? The lower the blood pressure?
Yeah, if you do laughter, how much do you have to do every day to lower blood pressure?
Yes, so that's a good question, and I think that's Sheila, right, Sheila? Yes. Everybody's different, and so I would highly say at least 5 to 10 minutes. So even if you watch a funny movie, then you're really getting what, about 2 hours in, but everybody's different. At least 5 to 10 minutes. And so this one, what we're going to do today is we're going to like plug our ears. I have these earphones on, so I can't plug them. But imagine that my fingers are in my eardrums, right here. And you're just going to close your eyes. Very good. And then you're going to close your lips. where the lips are touching so you can hum. So on the count of 3, we're all gonna hum with our fingers inside of our ears. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Close the mouth and start humming with your eyes closed. Take a somebody sound good.
Honey, honey.
Yes, that sounds good. I like that.
Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Yes. And so if you're driving and you can't put your fingers in your ears, you still can hum because there's benefits to humming, right? That neuro.
But don't close your eyes.
Yeah, don't close your eyes. Very
Oh,
good.
I
Thank
don't
you for
close
that.
my eyes and I
Open
don't put my
eyes.
fingers in my ears.
Open those eyes and you look, right? But humming is so beneficial for you. Okay. So there's so many benefits to laughter. And I just want to say it does release that wonderful messages to others. You know, when you laugh, you know, you're approachable, you're able to calm people down, and you're, and people, I notice that, you know, if you come serious at people, and I think too many of us have taken ourselves too serious, you know,
Yeah,
and we really need to kind of lower our guards and just have fun with it. Just really have fun with it. I do want to open up the this moment right now, you know, very good, yay. But if anybody have questions, I know that sometimes we, you know, zoom out of here really fast. I'm not able to answer questions. But if anyone has any questions, I'm here to say, you know, laughter is real medicine. It's very positive and it's fun.
Well,
It creates positive energy. And what can it hurt? Nothing. What can it help? Just about everything. So
everything.
there you go. So is any questions for me?
I don't have a question. I'm driving, and I said I would not miss this class today because I love laughing yoga, and I love to laugh. So thank you very much.
Oh, you are welcome. You know, that feeds me, that gives me response to say, okay, I could do this with you guys. You know, sometimes I know when I do this, and I have to have people in front of me to kind of be charged, right, and off their energy. But sometimes on Zoom like this, it's a little difficult to see who's really enjoying it and who's not. So any feedback, positive, negative, I take it and I welcome it because, you know, we learn from experience, right? And sometimes we learn and it helps, and sometimes we learn and we just go, okay, I take it for what it's worth for that moment. Or you could just do that fake laugh, like, thank you so much. Right?
Or you can do that. You can do that belly laugh, like.
Yes. Or that evil, Dr. Evil. Remember Dr. Evil? Remember that one? So you can even do that.
Do you have a Zoom laughter yoga group?
No, but we're trying to get one started up here. We're trying to get one up where, you know, if people sign up or let Janet know that we want to do this, I'd be happy to lead
I'd like a few minutes every day.
Oh, every day. Okay.
Oh my.
Oh my. Well, what you could do is, because this is recorded, you can just play it back, the parts that you like. You could play back, I think we did it 2 other times, play back that, whatever you could extract from this Zoom call for yourself. I highly recommend that you just watch really funny TV, movies, old movies. I'm an old movie buff. I love, you know, the old black and white movies, and, you know, Jerry Lewis. I know he's, you know, some people didn't like him, but I thought he was pretty comical. But please, I see there's a question.
I think I'll wait for your, well, maybe I'll try it, but I'd really like to know about your Zoom laughter yoga group or in-person group or something. This is good.
Thank you so much.
There's a movie out called The Four Ladies or The Four Women or something like that. I went to see it a couple of weeks ago, and it's so funny. It's a comical. I laughed throughout the whole hour and a half. So
The four
check
ladies?
it out.
Oh, I have to check
The
it
four
out.
ladies. Yeah, the
Okay.
four ladies or the four women or something like four. It's four women, but it's four women. And it's really funny. It's really, really funny. And I laughed the whole time. That's why I wouldn't miss your yoga laughter today. But I'm going to sign off now because I am driving. But
Love
I
you,
enjoyed
Linda.
it very
Love
much.
you. Love you.
I love you back. Thank you very much.
Well, you know,
Bye-bye.
that is helpful. So now we have a movie to watch. So next time we come back, we all can discuss the four ladies or the four women and, you know, hopefully find something, movies that we can share on this platform and just say, hey, did you see this movie or did you watch this? And bring laughter back. Again, it's not for everyone. Again, consult with your medical doctors to see if it's something you can do. Also, it's something you don't want to do after surgery, right? So I see there's a question today too. What is it says? It says, Dr. Anderson, do you teach a class?
For Unity. Did you teach a class for Unity?
Unity. Oh, yes, I did. Years ago. Also I did I did a lot of laughter yoga here in the city in Washington, DC. So I'm pretty sure some people know me from there and you know my corny sense of humor. But
Yes,
I
I was in your class. I was in one of your classes. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Ah, yay! Very good, very good. Yay!
Guys, we're going to try and do laughter yoga with Elva or someone who she suggests if she can't make it once a month. And we'll probably try and do like the last Friday of the month.
Oh, that'd
And
be
since,
great.
Okay,
and
great.
since we're not meeting next week, that's why we had her come in today.
And we could call it Fun Fridays. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Okay, from now on, they will be Fun Fridays.
At the
All right,
same time, will
everyone.
it be at the same time?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It'll be the same mindfulness experience, but instead of having somebody different on that last Friday, it'll be Elva.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guys.
All
And just
right. Have a
any questions, just bring them in. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Janet, for having me again.
oh, thank you for joining us. All right, I'm gonna let you all go.
Bye, family.
Love,
Bye.
peace, and hair grease.
Yes.